Hi everybody, this is Agnes from No Sediment, and today let's look at another 5 great alternatives to champagne. Champagne is probably the best wine for any celebration, and I know that I will choose to open a bottle of champagne if I have anything to celebrate. But it is not the only sparkling wine available, and there are many sparkling wines produced in Europe and the New World that are worth mentioning. Since I am exploring alternatives to champagne, I will be sticking to those bottle-fermented bubbles only. The fresh and fruit-driven sparkling wines such as Prosecco will not be mentioned here, because of completely different winemaking techniques ending up in different style. So let's go. Here are 5 great alternatives to champagne. I wish I could say great and more affordable alternatives to champagne, however, we will see that it is not necessarily the case. California is home to not only great quality and intense red wines, clean and often opulent style white wines, but also to refreshing bottle-fermented sparkling wines. Naturally, cooler regions of California will be more suited for sparkling wine production, such as Carneros, Anderson Valley, and Sonoma Coast. They usually show fresh but quite ripe fruit flavors, layered with juicy acidity, with elegant hints of yeasty notes. But best to hear from our reporter directly from California. Hi, this is Agnes reporting for No Sediment from California. Yes, we truly have seen increasing interest in Californian sparkling wines. It is evident by investments made from famous champagne houses such as Moet Chandon, Louis Roederer, and Taittinger. The majority of these sparkling wines will be made from Pinot Noir and Chardonnay grape varieties, and the best examples will be made by traditional method. Crémant can be made in almost every major French winemaking region. There is Crémant de Bourgogne, Crémant d'Alsace, and even Crémant de Bordeaux. And all of these Crémants must be made from locally allowed grape varieties, and the second fermentation must be done in the bottle, the same as for champagne. The minimum aging requirement on the fine lees is usually shorter though. Some argue that the best Crémants are made in Burgundy, stating that the same grapes are used as in champagne, Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, as well as the proximity to the famed region itself. But I am not convinced. Probably because the best quality grapes will be reserved for their still wines, which often dictate way more higher price tag. I do enjoy Crémant du Jura, which also must be made primarily from Pinot Noir, Chardonnay and or Trousseau grapes, with a second fermentation done in the bottle. The minimum aging on the lees is 9 months, but this big best friend is aged for impressive 52 months and is made from 100% Chardonnay grapes. An epic wine that will not disappoint even the hardcore champagne fans. Tasmania is an Australian island located southeast in the Pacific Ocean. It is praised for its cool climate, leading to long ripening season and retention of that highly praised acidity in the grapes. Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Riesling and Pinot Noir thrive here. Because of the climate and the grapes grown here, Tasmania is capable of producing very exciting bubbles, and nowadays more than 1/3 of all the grapes harvested here are made into sparkling wines. And while sparkling wines are allowed to be made in different ways, the traditional method is most commonly used for production of highest quality wines. So is the use of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir grapes. Jan's here is joint venture between Winzersekt and Louis Roederer, and one of the pioneers for quality sparkling wines in Tasmania. Great wine with refreshing palate featuring fresh white fruit wrapped in biscuity notes of autolysis. Cava is definitely amongst one of the best known sparkling wines, but for a while it was struggling with identity crisis. Cava name was represented worldwide by some of the largest sparkling wine producers of Spain, and their high volume production not necessarily correlated with the highest quality. Several attempts were made to highlight some of the smaller premium producers and their wines. But at the end, those producers decided to leave Cava appellation altogether and create new category, Corpinnat. Corpinnat is subject to stricter rules, such as only organically farmed vineyards can be used for its production, wine must be made only in the designated territory of Corpinnat, and aged on its lees in the bottles for at least 18 months. Some of the producers now bottling their wines under the Corpinnat label are Gramona, Recaredo, Nadal and Torello. Even though you may still find these producers under Cava category in some wine lists, essentially they are no longer considered as such. German sparkling wines might as well be one of the best kept secrets in the world of sparkling wines. Probably because Germans are the leaders in consumption of sparkling wines. They not only import a lot of bubbles, but they also produce them and they rarely leave the country. Most German bubbles will be light, fruit-driven sparkling wines made by Charmat method and not necessarily from grapes harvested in Germany. But they are also making some amazing bottle-fermented wines from Pinot Noir, Chardonnay and Riesling. And today I want to focus on Riesling. Some might argue that aromatic grapes, and Riesling most certainly falls into this category, are not well suited for traditional methods. While brioche notes of lees aging might be somewhat overpowered by Riesling aromatics, the nose of these wines are usually very fine and inviting. All Winzersekts must be made using the traditional method and aged at least 9 months on the lees, though most producers will age way longer. The grape variety and vintage must be stated on the label, so is the single vineyard if it is made from one. While these wines are quite pleasing when young, I do feel that they have capacity to age. As you may have noticed, these sparkling wines are not necessarily more affordable than champagnes. However, I do feel that they add more diversity and flavor to the sparkling wine category and definitely should not be forgotten. In case you did not find wines here that you think I should have mentioned, make sure to watch part 1 of this video. I talk about great alternatives to champagne there too.